The streets erupted into a battlefield as Kirby's protests spiraled into anarchy. Marilyn and Rue, her unyielding allies, were wrestled into a police car, their wrists bound, their voices piercing the night with cries of defiance. Kirby stood at the center of it all, a storm of rage and resolve, her fists clenched as the crowd pulsed around her. This wasn't just a demonstration, it was a reckoning, and the world was about to feel its shockwaves. Kirby had been drowning in self-doubt for too long. The company, those cold-blooded manipulators behind the lens, had lightened her skin in photos until she looked like a ghost of herself, a pale shadow stripped of her identity. They'd sculpted her body into a grotesque distortion, slicing away her curves to fit their warped fantasy of perfection. Every edited image was a dagger to her self-esteem, carving deeper with each campaign until she barely recognized the woman staring back at her. But that night, Kirby rose from the ashes of her shame, her voice a thunderclap. "I'm not your doll anymore." Leah, seething with disgust, couldn't stand by any longer. She'd seen the photos, the sickening proof of the company's betrayal, and it lit a fuse inside her. They didn't just alter her, she hissed, her eyes blazing. They tried to erase her. Fueled by righteous fury, Leah joined Kirby's crusade, her anger spilling over into action. She spotted a contact agency van, a smug, polished symbol of their enemy, and unleashed her wrath. With a brick in hand, she smashed the windshield, glass exploding like a gunshot, then scrawled fraud across the side in dripping black paint. The crowd roared, the police surged, and Leah stood tall, unrepentant. But the real twist was yet to come. Enter Rose, once a friend, now a foe. Just the day before, she'd sat with Kirby, Marilyn, and Rue, plotting this very protest, her voice steady as they mapped out their stand. Now, she stormed onto the scene in a police uniform, badge gleaming, her face a mask of conflicted steel. Called in to break up the chaos, Rose faced the people she'd promised to fight alongside. "Stand down," she barked, her voice cracking under the weight of betrayal. The crowd froze, stunned by the sight of their former comrade turning against them. Kirby's eyes locked with Rose's, a storm of hurt and fury flashing between them. "You were with us," Kirby spat, her words dripping with venom. "What are they paying you to sell your soul?" Marilyn and Rue shouted from the squad car, their handcuffs rattling as they cursed Rose's name. Leah, paint still staining her hands, lunged forward, only to be restrained by officers. The protest had become a war zone, friend against friend, truth against lies. The company thought they could control Kirby with edits and silence her with fear, but they'd unleashed a wildfire. Rose's betrayal was the final spark, and as the police dragged the protesters away, one thing was certain: this wasn't the end. Kirby and Leah would rise again, and their vengeance would be a story no one could ignore.